career paths of Sandra Wise, a psychologist working in prisons, and Dean Van Camp, a professional horse trainer, met head-on in Colorado in 1999. From their first meeting, Dean began teaching Sandra about the equine world, and Sandra began teaching Dean how to be a psychologist of sorts. The result of this sharing is the Eye of a Horse mental health treatment program, a joining of psychotherapeutic experiences headquartered at the Equine Education Center on the grounds of the 4,700-acre wildlife preserve in Osceola County known as Forever, Florida. Here, Dean and Sandra voluntarily dedicate their time and talents to conducting psychotherapy sessions with the aid of the largest herd of Florida cracker horses in the world. Here, clients who range from youngsters with autism to at-risk youth to sexual abuse survivors to disabled veterans to elderly senior citizens interact with horses and cows, free to come and go and relate as they see fit. As Dean and Sandra put it, we help folks find new ways to look at the world and new ways to relate to all living creatures, particularly to our own kind and ultimately to ourselves. We help people see what they characteristically do in relationships and in life, which is the beginning of understanding why they do what they do, which in turn is the beginning of changing the parts that are not working for them. Their clients are invited to mingle with a herd of free-roaming horses. See if you are drawn to a particular horse, instructs Dean, or don't choose and see which horse chooses you. Then the client is tasked with making sense of the resultant choice. It's rather like a projective psychological test, which reveals hidden motives or underlying personality structure. This dynamic interaction effect is what makes Dean and Sandra's program so effective and distinguishes it from therapeutic riding. The power of this model comes from the horse observing a human's nonverbal communication and responding with clear feedback about what it sees. Just like physicians in white coats use instruments like X-rays and stethoscopes to see how an individual is doing medically, Eye of a Horse uses interactions and free-roaming horses and cows to see how a person is doing psychologically and emotionally. This is why they refer to the horses as big barometers in brown coats. So goes the work of Dean and Sandra, introducing special folks, young and old, burdened, weary, or worried, to a special breed of native horses born and raised on the ranch of 2010 Central Florida Humanitarians Bill and Margaret Bouchard. Equine therapists include untouched native colts recently born out in back pastures to herds of brood mares that rarely interact with humans, and to seasoned professionals like Mud Dog, who has befriended many 90-year-old nursing home residents, and Uno, who has played ball with many youngsters who are carrying heavy loads, and Curly Fries, who has fetched many an object tossed by a human friend who has forgotten how to trust and needs to learn that the object will indeed be returned. These wonderful animals, state Dean and Sandra, are the true humanitarians, serving mankind as only they can, with immediate, direct, and non-judgmental feedback, heralding the message, I see you, I respect you, I will engage you, and if you are willing to learn, I will teach you. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2012 Central Florida Humanitarians, Dr. Sandra Wise and Dean Van Camp.